Remember the feeling of being completely immersed in a new console generation? That period in the early 2000s was a strange and exciting time. We had left the blocky, colorful worlds of the 32-bit era behind and stepped into a new age of hard drives, Dolby digital sound, and online play. But with all that new power, a question lingered. What would a mature, sophisticated game on this hardware even look like? We had plenty of sci-fi shooters and fantasy RPGs, but the world of gritty, modern-day espionage was still largely the domain of movies and paperback novels. Then, in late 2002, a game emerged from the shadows, not with the roar of a rocket launcher, but with the quiet click of a suppressed pistol. It was a game that didn't just use the Xbox's power for bigger explosions, but to create a deeper darkness. That game was Splinter Cell. And over 2 decades later, its legacy is not just one of nostalgia, but of a design philosophy that feels almost revolutionary today. To understand Splinter Cell, you have to understand the landscape it was born into. The stealth genre at that point was almost synonymous with one game: Metal Gear Solid. Hideo Kojima's masterpiece was operatic, flamboyant, and deeply Japanese in its storytelling and mechanics. It was a brilliant game, but it was a specific flavor of stealth. On the other side, you had the Thief series from Looking Glass Studios, which established the first-person tenets of light, sound, and shadow. When Ubisoft's Montreal studio set out to create their own spy thriller, they weren't just trying to copy these giants. They were looking to create something grounded in a near-future reality, something that felt plausible and technologically advanced. The Tom Clancy brand at the time was a seal of approval for this kind of techno-thriller authenticity. The team took the core ideas of light and sound from Thief and translated them into a third-person perspective, but they went much, much further. They built a game entirely around the idea of being a ghost, where the environment itself was your primary tool and your most dangerous adversary. This wasn't just about avoiding cone of vision sightlines, it was about becoming one with the darkness. At the heart of this experience is Sam Fisher. In this first outing, he's not yet the weary, wisecracking veteran he would become. He's a professional, seasoned NSA operative, pulled back into the field for a desperate, deniable mission. His voice, provided by Michael Ironside, is a crucial piece of the puzzle. Ironside didn't give Sam a typical action hero bravado. There's a gravelly, world-weary cynicism in his delivery. A man who has seen too much, but is too good at his job to walk away. Every line of dialogue, every quiet grunt as he pulls himself up a pipe, sells the reality of his character. He feels like a real person doing an impossibly dangerous job. And to do that, he is equipped with what felt at the time like the spy gadget wish list of every kid from the 80s. The iconic trifocal goggles are the centerpiece. With the click of a button, you could cycle through different vision modes, including normal night vision that turns the darkest night into a bright green world, and a special thermal infrared view for tracking enemies through walls and smoke. These made the darkness your greatest ally, giving you a nearly unstoppable advantage over your adversaries. But the gadgets didn't stop there. The Sticky Shocker was a silent, non-lethal takedown tool from a distance. The Wall Mine was a clever distraction and area denial device. You had a laser mic for eavesdropping on distant conversations and optical cables to peek under doors. Every piece of equipment had a tangible purpose, and mastering their use was the key to survival. It was a toolkit for manipulation and infiltration. The true star of Splinter Cell, however, isn't Sam or his gadgets. It's the lighting engine. The game was built on a modified version of the Unreal Engine, and man did it provide an upgrade to the visuals. For those of us who lived through this era, the leap in dynamic lighting was nothing short of breathtaking. This wasn't just pre-baked shadows on a texture. This was a real-time, fully interactive system. You could shoot out a light bulb with a silenced pistol, and watch as the room plunged into darkness, the guards reacting with confusion and alarm. You could use a light switch to momentarily blind an enemy, creating a split-second opening. The game gave you a real-time light meter on your HUD, a simple gauge that became your most important piece of information. Seeing that bar drop to 0 as you crouched in a corner was a visceral feeling of safety. The sound design was its equal partner in crime. The game required you to manage your movement speed meticulously. Running on concrete made a racket, while moving slowly on a carpet was nearly silent. The audio visualization in the HUD, showing the noise you were making, taught you to move with intention. You learned to listen to the guards, to their idle chatter, their footsteps, the changes in their tone as they shifted from calm to suspicious to actively hunting you. The tension came from the crunch of your own footsteps on gravel, or a panicked call for help by a guard who just found a body you left behind. The levels in Splinter Cell were not mere hallways to run through. They were intricate, multi-path puzzles built by an architect who understood verticality and player agency. Let's take a mission like the CIA headquarters level. This was a masterclass in environmental design, infiltrating the very heart of the intelligence agency. A place designed to be impenetrable felt like the ultimate challenge. You weren't just avoiding guards. You were navigating laser grids, security cameras, and pressure-sensitive floors. The game forced you to think in 3 dimensions. The solution to a problem was rarely right in front of you. It was above you, in the air ducts and ceiling pipes. It was below you, in the maintenance tunnels. You could use a zip line to cross a vast atrium, or a rappel rope to descend silently past a patrol. This level design respected your intelligence. It presented you with a fortified space and a suite of tools, and let you figure out your own way through. There was the constant risk-reward calculus at play. Do you take the time to hide every body, knowing it reduces the chance of an alarm, but increases your exposure? Do you use a non-lethal takedown, or simply slip past entirely? This was a game that rewarded patience, observation, and methodical planning over brute force. Getting spotted wasn't just a minor setback. It often meant a swift and fatal failure, forcing you to reload and rethink your entire approach. It's impossible to talk about Splinter Cell without acknowledging its role as a defining Xbox exclusive. While it did eventually come to other platforms, it was on the Xbox that the game truly sang. The console's built-in hard drive eliminated the texture pop-in and long load times that plagued prior consoles. This was a significant innovation, as it was the first gaming console to include a built-in hard drive as a standard feature that allowed for caching data to reduce the load times and allowed developers to push game updates and patches to your installed game. It also boasted a powerful, for the time, NVIDIA GPU that created the stunning lighting and shadow effects to run with fewer compromises. And then there was the sound. Supporting Dolby Digital 5.1 surround sound, Splinter Cell was an auditory revelation. You could hear the direction of the footsteps, the rustle of a guard in the next room, the hum of a server rack behind you. This wasn't just an aesthetic upgrade, it was a gameplay one. It allowed you to track enemy movements through sound alone, to know when it was safe to move from your hiding spot. This game was a technical showcase, a statement piece that demonstrated the raw power of Microsoft's new console wasn't just for spectacle, but for actually deepening the immersion of gameplay mechanics in a way that hadn't been seen before. Looking back from today's perspective, Splinter Cell's influence was massive. It didn't create a new wave of clones in the same way that, say, a Souls-like game would, but its DNA is scattered throughout the industry. You can feel its emphasis on light and shadow in the Batman Arkham series. Its approach to methodical, player-driven problem-solving and level design is an ancestor to games like Dishonored and the most recent Hitman series. It helped prove that there was a massive audience for a slower, more cerebral type of action game, one where intellect was more important than reflexes. Yet, in another way, Splinter Cell feels like a relic of a bygone era. It's an unapologetically single-player experience, with a focus on tight, authored levels, rather than truly open worlds. It's a game that is often brutally difficult and punishing of mistakes, refusing to hold the player's hand. And in an age of guided experiences and constant checkpoints, Splinter Cell's demand for perfection and its willingness to let you fail spectacularly feels almost radical. It respects your time by not making things easier, but by making your success feel truly earned. So what is it about Splinter Cell that still captivates us 20 years later? It's not just the nostalgia of remembering that first time you hid in a shadow, your light meter hitting 0, your heart pounding as a guard's flashlight beam swept inches from your hiding spot. It's the enduring power of a game that was built on a cohesive, singular vision. Every element, from the voice acting to the lighting engine, from the gadget design to the level layout, served the core fantasy of being a lone operative skulking around in the dark. It was a game that asked you to be smart, to be patient, and to be silent. In a modern gaming landscape that often feels loud, overwhelming, and desperate for your attention, returning to the quiet, tense, and brilliantly crafted world of Splinter Cell isn't just a trip down memory lane. It's a reminder of a different kind of power fantasy. Not one of unstoppable strength, but of perfect execution. The power of being a ghost, leaving nothing behind but the faint echo of a mission accomplished. But that's just what I think. What's your take on Splinter Cell? How does it stack up to Metal Gear Solid? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your views. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'd like to invite you to subscribe for more feel-good retro gaming content. Alright my friends, this is the Retro Gaming Boss signing out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.